Hello everyone, welcome back to another Pokemon The Series, the beginning episode talks. But before we get into that, here in the Netherlands, we have 2 days of Christmas. So I would like to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. I hope you had a fun one or have a fun one. I don't know how it works around the world, but let's hope for a fun one. And also, please subscribe. So we are here, round 1. But before that, we need to get registered at the reception. So Brock decides to flirt with the receptionist, and Ash checks in. So Ash is like, who do I get to fight in the Indigo Stadium? And then Brock pops in and is like, actually, you're not allowed to go to the Indigo Stadium yet, because first, you have 4 battlefields that you need to win at. Rock, grass, water, and ice. And once you win in each of them, then you can go to the Indigo Stadium. Isn't that right, miss? And he learned all of that by studying the trainer handbook. Right, miss? He's just trying to flirt with her while also explaining the rules. Misty then takes him away. So Ash wonders who he's gonna battle, so he has to stop the button, and it stops at the water field. And then his opponent is going to be the astounding Mandy. Meanwhile, Team Rocket are conducting interviews for potential people who they can steal Pokemon from. However, Mandy, who is also apparently a magician, doesn't really care about them because their network doesn't get any viewers, and he doesn't appear on networks that don't get views. Simple as that. Also, Gary's gonna fight on the ice battlefield. So Oak calls Ash, and Ash then decides, oh, I'm gonna use Krabby, because Misty earlier on is like, wanna use some of my water Pokemon because you're on the water battlefield? And I'm like, technically that isn't really needed. I mean, Ash has Pikachu that he's obviously gonna use. He has Squirtle. But it's not just a water battlefield. He can use the sky as well with Pidgeotto. So he doesn't really need your Pokemon. However, when he sees Krabby, he knows what needs to be done. And he asks Oak for Krabby. Also, the whole of Pallet Town is watching at Professor Oak's lab. So Ash gets his Krabby, and then he meets his opponent. And Mandy mocks Ash. And then Brock and Misty warn of Krabby because of the fact it has no battle experience. But they do not know the power that ball holds, okay? They do not know. They are non-believers. So, afterwards, Gary is revealed to have won his first battle very easily. Mocks everyone that he knows because he's like, well, all the trainers I know are losers. I'm like, why? Whatever. So then Ash gets ready. He gets up to the battlefield. And then Team Rocket cheer for him because Ash wants to send out his Pokemon. He's like, I'm not some little twerp. Hey, twerp, win! Because they're mad at Mandy. And then they get kicked out by a bunch of Officer Jennies, which Brock is like, those are some of my favorite Officer Jennies. And of course, he knows all of their differences. One skirt is shorter, one head uses a special type of shampoo, one uses a special type of perfume, and then he gets dragged away. So now let the battle begin. So Ash sends in his Krabby, Mandy sends in his Executor. So we're already in trouble. So Mandy starts off with a Psy Wave, which Ash's Krabby dodges, and then it uses Harden in the water. But that is what Mandy wanted, because he now uses his Executor Psychic in order to create a Whirlpool, because that move didn't exist yet. So now we have to use Psychic in order to create one of them, which is trouble for Krabby. But even more trouble is the fact that Executor then start bombing the place with Egg Bomb, and Ash can't return Krabby because of the whole Whirlpool stuff, which is actually an effect of the move Whirlpool, but it wasn't introduced until Generation 2, so I don't know if it's like a nod towards it, or if it's literally just he uses his Psychic to create a Whirlpool as an actual reference, or if it's just an accidental. I don't know which one it is. But Krabby eventually makes it out of the Whirlpool, and then uses Vice Grip on Executor, and Executor can't use Hypnosis because Krabby is too close. Then Krabby uses Leer and Stomp to finish the job, and then Krabby evolves into Kingler. I told you the power that Pokeball contains. But it evolves into Kingler. So Mandy sends in his Seadra, and Ash is like, use Water Gun. And Seadra dodges all of the Water Guns. However, then Ash is like, use Bubble instead. And Seadra initially dodges it, but the foam of Bubble stays, which causes Seadra to be flung into the air. And then one Crab Hammer later, and Seadra has also been beaten. 2 down, 1 to go, and Kingler is the only one who remains. You cannot stop these cookies. So the last Pokemon that gets sent in is Golbat, and Ash's Kingler immediately jumps into the water, at which point Golbat uses Takedown, but Kingler grabs it with Vice Grip. However, it escapes thanks to, according to the announcer, Double Team. And then it uses Razor Wind. And then when it wants to use Mega Drain, Kingler uses Hyper Beam and finishes off Golbat, meaning that Ash soloed this guy with Kingler before Krabby. But Kingler, he soloed the guy. Yes, the faithful episode. and Ash gets to move on to round 2. And this episode was great, dude. It was absolutely great. We get the introduction to Mandy before we get to battle him, which I like, you know. He's not just some, like, nobody. He actually got introduced in the beginning of the episode to prepare for the battle, and obviously he's a prick just like everyone else. The fact that Team Rocket just, like, barge into the announcer's place and just, like, are like, hey, Twerp, beat him, was funny. We have the fact that Brock knows all the Officer Jennies. It's always funny. And the fact that Kingler soloed a battle. How can you not love that, dude? At this moment. Like, if Ash had called in Kingler before, he could have beaten Sabrina without doing the whole Haunter stuff. He could have beaten Erica with the greatest of ease because of the fact that Brock and Misty didn't have Krabby yet. But he could have won all of those battles with the greatest of ease because of the power that that little crab contains. Which is actually not that different from the main games. Because Krabby in the games has a base attack stat of 105. And the reason I remember that is because it's so insanely huge. And then 130 as a Kingler. And in Generation 1, Hyper Beam was a physical attack. So that Hyper Beam did a lot of damage. And also, back in Generation 1, Crab Hammer always crits. So Ash just had a fantastic battle with a fantastic Pokemon. And I love this episode because of that. This episode made me love Kingler. Even though I have difficulties using it, I still love that Pokemon a lot. Too bad its special defense is kinda lacking. That's really the only problem that Kingler has. But let me know what you guys thought about this episode in the comment section down below. And with that being said, thank you all so very much for watching. And I do hope you guys have enjoyed. And if you did, please like button, subscribe if you're new, if you're not already, turn notifications, and don't forget to check out the Let's Play channel. Link in the description and at the end of the video. And I'll see you guys next time for a little bit of a lesser episode called Fire and Ice. What is this? Sonic Boom. Bye!